Check 1 2. Mic check 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Check 1 2. Check check check. Channel 1. I'm gonna.
Okay. And you'll be looking at me. You're live. We're live right now.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So tell us what's happening.
So right now, AIDS activists from across the United States have actually converged right here in Washington, D.C., outside the State Department to protest the cuts that are happening and the freezing of money for HIV around the world.
And tell us, what is and what is it?
So the PEPFAR program currently serves 20 million people living with HIV around the world with HIV treatment and millions more with HIV prevention. And this administration has frozen all of that money and has actually said that they're going to abolish the U.S. Agency for International Development that is responsible for administering much of that money. That is a massive crisis around the world for HIV programs. Right now, 3,000 people every day are getting infected with HIV. We have the medicines, and in fact, we have an amazing new medicine right now that you do twice a year, and it stops HIV infections almost completely. The PEPFAR program was about to roll that out around the world, and they've stopped all of that, and that is a huge crisis.
So Secretary of State Rubio is saying that he has given exception to PEPFAR by giving the waiver. What do you say to that?
So there's two things. First of all, what they've done is completely illegal. Actually, Congress is the one that enacted a law creating PEPFAR. They're the ones that created the United States Agency for International Development. It's actually not up to Secretary Rubio, it's not up to the president, and it's certainly not up to Elon Musk to decide to destroy that, to abolish that. That's actually a clear violation of Article 1 of the Constitution that actually says it's up to Congress. The waivers that are happening are similarly kind of silly, right? They've decided to freeze aid on the one hand and give a waiver for some programs on the other, while also laying off or freezing or putting on leave all of the people who are supposed to disseminate those waivers. You know, programs around the world don't actually run based on headlines. They run based on legal documents. They've received a freeze order. They've received a stop work order. And so slowly some programs are reopening, but many others around the world are not. We just heard from colleagues in Botswana who have a complete hold and freeze on all of their programs, despite Secretary Rubio insisting that they don't. And so this is chaos. It's mass chaos, and it's costing lives already.
For someone in the United States who feel like this might not affect them, what do you say to them?
So the HIV programs that matter for people around the world do several things. One, they help stop the AIDS pandemic that is raging around the world. Second, they bring a huge amount of positive political benefit to the United States, who's seen as supporting that. But third of all, these are also the programs that are also fighting pandemics. So on January 20th, when President Trump was being inaugurated, the government of Tanzania was announcing that there was an outbreak of Marburg. There's an outbreak of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo this week, right now. Same in Uganda. These are efforts to stop pandemics that are now completely frozen, and they're saying that they're going to abolish. That makes Americans far less safe, far less strong. I'm not sure what the Secretary thinks is going to accomplish here, but it's really damaging to U.S. standing and to U.S. security around the world.
How long are you planning? Are all of you planning on being out here for and protesting? And can you just give us a sense of where we are right now and how we're stopping traffic?
So right now we're standing at the end of Constitution Avenue, right next to the State Department. Traffic is actually stopped to 5 different directions, going to Virginia, going to Maryland, and going into Washington, D.C. I don't know how long folks will be out here. I think they're really angry and really frustrated to see this happen. You know, the AIDS movement and the HIV movement was born of denial of access to services, and so this is just the beginning. They're standing in solidarity with people in Africa, Asia, and Latin America who don't have access to treatment, who need it immediately, or else they're going to die. So people are going to be out here for a while, I think.
Thank you so much. And can you say your first and last name and then spell it for us, and then also your title?
So I'm Matthew Cavanaugh, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, Cavanaugh, K-A-V-A-N-A-G-H, and I'm the director of the Center for Global Health Policy and Politics and a professor at Georgetown University.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have another one right now, or okay?
would you want me to do?
And I'm gonna move
Sorry.
over here.
Yeah, that's fine.
And this is my bike.
You could stand right there for me?
Sure.
And we're live right now?
Yes. Look at you.
I don't see it in the monitor. It's screen. I'm gonna figure that out.
Okay, so if you can say your first and last name for me.
So my name is Sharon Ann Lynch. Sharon Ann, Sharonn. Wait, Ronann. Lynch, Lynch. I am one of many volunteers out here. I'm an AIDS activist with ACT UP, which is an AIDS advocacy group that has been around for decades. And I have to tell you, I am shocked to be back here. I'm shocked to be back in the place we were 24 years ago, trying to convince the government that people around the world need support, that it isn't right to let someone die simply because of where they were born, that we all benefit when people living with HIV can continue to live, can reduce the risk of transmission, can reduce development of TB and also the spread of TB. I cannot believe that we have been thrown back in time. You've got many people living with HIV who have been blocking traffic here, along with AIDS activists. And it's not about us. It is about the solidarity with the generations of people that we know that are alive today because of PEPFAR. We also know what will come once PEPFAR has its leg kicked out from under it. We've already seen and heard that clinics around the world have been shuttered, that life-saving medicines are staying in the cabinet, locked away, that people are being turned away from clinics when they come for their refills. This doesn't make any sense. This is posturing, political posturing, and putting millions of people's lives at stake. 26 million people are alive today because of PEPFAR. But that doesn't even speak to their family members that didn't get HIV because of PEPFAR. Their babies that didn't get HIV because of PEPFAR. Their family members and community members that didn't get TB because of PEPFAR. What are we doing? I have been working in some countries where the funeral homes were open, the mortuaries open 24 hours. Are we going to go back there? I have been working in places for HIV treatment programs in Africa where people come to the facility in a wheelbarrow. They'll come to clinic in the wheelbarrow because they are too sick to walk, too weak to walk. But I've also seen those people bounce back because of life-saving drugs, the antiretrovirals. If we don't have PEPFAR, then we're spitting in the face of science, but also punishing the success of more than 20 years of scaling up HIV treatment. And the U.S. didn't do it alone, but the U.S. smartly got other governments to invest, put the commitment and the political will and the funding on the line. But if they step back, then everything will collapse. It just doesn't make sense. All that needs to happen is the right communication from the State Department, from PEPFAR, and reversal, a course correction of the firing of these key officials that are responsible for providing this life-saving treatment to 26 million people.
Foreign aid ever got privatized somehow. What would you say to, like, what do you think about that?
We've already seen what happens where if you privatize healthcare, then there will be cherry picking. Cherry picking of who gets funding. It won't be on merit. And also, people will be forced to pay out of pocket. Because HIV treatment is lifelong, that is too much to put on the shoulders of people living with HIV around the world. HIV treatment has been part of the national government's response, largely because of the U.S. government's support. If we back off, then we are telling them it's okay if you back off. If they back off, then it will only be those that are rich enough that can pay for the medicines themselves that will survive.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Just that it's a matter of time. One day without treatment means that the HIV virus escapes and attacks your body again. But you can extend that thinking to communities. I have been to places where one person in the school, one teacher survived out of many. What are we doing? We've already seen what it's like to not have treatment. So why in the world would we turn off the tap now? Thank you.
I'm going to unplug that and then hand you the cable.
People with AIDS die. Rubio lies. 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 People with AIDS die. People with AIDS die. People with AIDS die.
How many entrances do they have?
Come on up, everyone.
There's employee entrances. There's a whole bunch. I do. That building is too large.
Okay, come on up. If I could have folks' attention for just a minute.
Everyone.
So first of all, I want you all to give yourselves a big round of applause. There have only been a few times in my life when I've tried so hard to get arrested.
Right, that's why. I couldn't
I got
believe it.
physically picked up and thrown out of the street 3 times. And I said, well, why don't you just arrest me? And he said, I'm not going to.
It's different now.
I really appreciate all of the people who sat in the